This is Ritesh Srinivasan and welcome to my channel. This has been the year of generative AI. So 2022 we have seen a lot of generative AI models come out, plus a lot of other interesting AI models. So let's have a quick relook at what was the interesting stuff which came in 2022. Thank you for 6K subscribers and hopefully I can make more interesting videos in 2023. Okay. So one of the most exciting things which came up this year was DALLE-2 from OpenAI. It's an AI system that can generate realistic images and art from a description in natural language. So basically you had this text which says an astronaut riding a horse in a photorealistic style. If you give this text as an input to this model, you get this particular output image. So this was quite exciting when it came, right? So it could also do a lot of other things like expand images beyond what the original canvas, right? So it could do a lot of creative things. Okay, so depending upon how good your text is, the text input, you could get different kinds of images. Okay, right? So this was DALLE-2. So since OpenAI was doing this, can Google be left behind? No, right? So they came up with Imagen. Okay, so Imagen was again an AI system. Given an text input, okay, it could create images. So they had a text to image diffusion model, okay, which could create realistical images from the text. Okay, some examples are present over here. I'll be putting the link in the description of the video to all that interesting stuff I discuss over here in this video. Okay, so this was a diffusion based model. Okay, so given a text input, you could generate images. So this was not really available for you to really try out in an open source way. DALLE-2 was available through OpenAI, in the sense that you could sign up and you could be on a wait list and then you could try out DALLE-2. Okay, but on top of this came Stable Diffusion. Okay, this was the first really accessible image to text to image generation AI model. Okay, because once they did a public release of Stable Diffusion, you had Hugging Face. It was integrated with Hugging Face and you could actually generate images using your code and the Stability AI models. Okay, Stable Diffusion models. Okay, so they had actually integrated this with Hugging Face and you could actually try it out. So Stable Diffusion was quite revolutionary. You could easily, you had this Hugging Face diffusers library. It produced really nice images, right? So Stable Diffusion really was kind of the turning point in this text to image generation models. Okay, so this was about Stable Diffusion, which was quite revolutionary in the sense, and now they are actually releasing better versions of Stable Diffusion models. But because you had this Hugging Face diffusers library, anybody could access Stable Diffusion models and anybody could actually fine tune on top of the existing model to generate images. So it became more accessible, okay, compared to say DALLE-2 or Imagen. Okay, so this was about your text to image AI models. The certain highlights of this year, what I liked, say DALLE-2 or Imagen or Stable Diffusion. Okay, then you had these large language models which came this year, like your Pathways. Okay, the Palm language model from Google research. Okay, again, this has not been released as such, but this was a huge model, 540 billion parameters model, and they say that it performed better than say GPT-3 or some of the other models. Okay, and it is a single model which could do a lot of your natural language tasks like question answering, language understanding. It could also do code completion. It could do summarization. A lot of things have been claimed over here in this Palm language model. Okay, so then you also had ChatGPT coming up in December, and people just went crazy over ChatGPT because they provided a release, okay, where you could actually go and put your query. This is like a large language model. You need to sign up over here and you could actually try it out, and it was quite revolutionary, or it was quite interesting to play around with ChatGPT. Lot of use cases. People came up with many use cases for ChatGPT. Okay, and I think with the amount of people trying out ChatGPT, OpenAI would have got sufficient data to further tune and improve ChatGPT. Okay. You also had again AlphaCode coming up from Deep Mind. Okay, so this was about competitive programming. So can an AI model solve a competitive programming problem? Okay, so given a description of a competitive programming problem, can the AI come up with a solution? So that was the idea over here. Okay, so they have given examples over here of what is the input, right, and what is the output. So given this kind of a description of a problem along with its input and expected output, you could actually get code generated. Okay, so that was the idea over here. So this was also quite interesting. Many people predicted that probably this would mean that the end of programmers, because now all you need is a description and it could generate code, but then it still has a long way to go. Okay, but the claim over here is that this is estimated rank of top 54% of participants in programming competitions. So this is like a interesting development, right? Another interesting development which I like this year was Deep Mind GATO. So the idea over here is, can you actually have a single generalist agent, okay, which can take multiple inputs, right, and can produce multiple outputs. Okay, the same network can play with the same weights, can play Atari, caption images, chat, stack blocks with a real robot arm. So this was an attempt towards a generalist agent, okay, which can perform multiple tasks depending upon the input. Okay, if you give a text as an input, it can generate an image. Okay, it can also play games. It can stack blocks with the robotic arm. So this was an interesting concept. Okay, so I like the idea of this architecture. Probably I would like to see more improvements coming in this area. I expect some more interesting research work coming up in this area in 2023. So the idea of having a generalist agent instead of very specific models which can either accept an image or text or different kind of modalities, this is more of a generalist agent which can perform multiple tasks, okay, with the same set of weights. These are not different submodels within the network. It is the same model which could perform different tasks. Okay. Then there was also this AlphaFold, which again came from DeepMind, okay, which says that it can accurately predict 3D models of protein structures. Okay. So the idea was that this would revolutionize things like drug design, okay, and molecular biology and stuff like that. So this was also quite interesting. So the idea is that if you could unravel a protein, you would see that basically it is about protein folding problem and how it tries to solve this protein folding problem. Okay, so this was about AlphaFold. So these were some of the highlights of 2022 for me. I could have missed out on some other interesting research work. So the biggest thing is ChatGPT. You could publicly try out ChatGPT. There are a lot of interesting use cases proposed by different people on ChatGPT. I liked Stable Diffusion because it made AI art accessible to almost everybody, right? Then the other interesting things are your pathways, PALM language models, and say DALLE-2. Okay, so these were some of the highlights of 2022. I hope to come up with more interesting videos on topics related to AI in 2023. Stay tuned to the channel. If you like the content, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. See you in another video.